Hey, what's up, Skullball with Imagination Creation Films, and today we're talking about this, the new RED Komodo X. It's all the things you love about Komodo, and all the things you wanted Komodo to have. So we'll get to the Komodo X review here in just a moment, but first some housekeeping. This is not my Komodo X. It was kindly loaned to me by Bill at Voice and Video Sales to test it for a week and give it a review. And so, we should all say thank you, Bill. And Voice and Video Sales also happens to sell Komodo X's. So it was a very nice thing. Speaking of nice things, no, that's not what I meant. Subscribe. So RED shocked the world 3 years ago when it released the original Komodo crash cam, which has sold tens of thousands of since. The tiny 2-pound 4-inch cube could shoot 6K up to 40 frames a second and record using RED RAW on a global shutter sensor. Couple that with a nice price tag of under $6,000 and, well, you've got thousands of people jumping into RED at an extraordinary rate. Now, many of these filmmakers were using Komodo as their A-cam, and it's done a fairly respectable job of it, but it did have some shortcomings when it comes to being a solid A-cam. First and foremost, to me, it was audio. RED have always been designed as a true cinema camera first, and then kind of designed downward from there. And, well, most cinema cameras use external audio engineers and gear for their sound. Another was the frame rates. The innovative global shutter sensor, it wasn't able to perform with frame rates above 40 frames per second at full res. Now this somewhat limited creatives who were wanting at least 48 or 50 to get that 2x slow-mo, or 60 for those wanting 2x on 30 frames per second. Another limitation was the I/O. Komodo had a 9-pin expansion port, which allowed a lot of I/O, but you had to buy a breakout box and use it all that way. And it only had a single video feed on the back. So everyone who didn't buy it as a crash cam, well, you were mounting up external monitors to it and then running SDI cable around to the monitor. Yeah. Now, since Komodo was built to be compact, they used Canon BP batteries on the back to power it. They were inexpensive and capable for Komodo, but did not have any power reserve to feed an external monitor. So people ended up buying a V-mount adapter and running bigger batteries. And, well, a lot of these V-mount adapters had breakout boxes on the back. So that allows you to gain access to all the ports. So you ended up building this tiny little Komodo into something much, much larger, albeit still the same lovable little Moto with its other limitations. Well, RED listened to feedback from users and secretly built a new Komodo A-cam. Enter Komodo X. This is your chance. Just come on out there, buddy. Oh, okay. Just what does X stand for? I don't know. Extreme? Extraordinary? Exemplary? Xenomorphic? Maybe X just marks the spot, the sweet spot, because here's what they added to Komodo X. They created an all-new sensor based on the original Komodo sensor, but they managed to double the frame rate. So now it can shoot up to 80 frames a second in OpenGate 6K. Now, to handle all that data, they needed to update to a more powerful processor. And they needed to store all that data quickly, so CF Express Type B was used, like the V-Raptor and the V-Raptor XL. But now, all that new processing and the storage, well, it required a lot more heat to dissipate out of this little tiny package. So they had to extend it ever so slightly. Hard to tell, but it's just ever so slightly longer, about an inch. But that's not the whole story. We'll get back to that in a second. So with the new body size, they were able to squeeze in a much larger heatsink and, well, create a whole lot more airflow for it. But now They were able to add a record button in the front, in addition to the side button, which are both larger now, and they added in a locking RF. Oh, that front button that shares a couple of cool features with its side brother here. They're not only dual function and tactile, but they're also user assignable. Now you can quickly access tools and functions with a simple press or half press. Now they built in the USB-C connection that was added on a external add-on to Komodo. They added it to the back now. It's kind of a similar design to the V-Raptor, but what else is on the back? Well, something I've complained about for many years, possibly too much. New audio preamps. They listened. We got them, and they're spectacular. That's kind of letting you in a little future here. We'll dive into that in just a little bit, but the 9-pin I/O is still on the back. Well, that one. And and it looks like RED is going to be making some expansion adapters with full-size V-mount and gold mount plates. And it sure looks like there might be a few little cool extras on there as well, but we'll have to wait and see on those. All that processing requires more power, and BPs were, well, not going to cut it. So RED said, let's give them a mini V-mount. Well, and what a seriously strong V-mount it is. I mean, it is seriously strong. If you're afraid of V-mounts, you don't need to be afraid of this one. It is metal, machined metal there. So now we have enough power for all those cool new features. And a little extra power for, say, RED DSM-C3 Touch monitors and maybe an EVF. A whole lot of fun, I mean, if you know what I mean. Now let's take a deep look into, well, these new features. First, the sensor. The sensor is, well, it's all new, but it's based on the previous Komodo. But you get those double frame rates. They were also able to add in a half a stop of dynamic range in the shadows, and it's fairly evident. The colors are, well, lovely, and the noise is ever so slightly reduced from Komodo. Now, let's talk about the frame rates currently available. In OpenGate 6K, which is a DCI ratio, 17:9, it's 80 frames per second. At 6K widescreen, it's 100. At 5K DCI, 100 frames per second, and at 4K DCI, 120. And at 2K DCI, 240 frames per second. And of course, the sensor crops in as you reduce resolution so it can remain raw. Remember, if it's not crop, it's crap. Now, at least when it comes to raw. Now, all these frame rates and resolutions are available in all 4 compression settings, even HQ. Another cool feature borrowed from V-Raptor is the variable frame rates. You can simply type in the exact frame rate that you'd like, up to the maximum of that resolution. Now, something new to Komodo X is something many of us has been longing for, and since the DSMC 1 and 2 days, a slower shutter option. Currently, you can go as slow as 1/6 of a second. Now, those time lapses can have some nice motion blur. Now, the new CF Express Type B supports, well, currently up to 4 terabytes and has a maximum sustained data rate of 512 megabytes per second in camera. So you can get some very long and some very high quality record times. Here are the current record times with a 1 terabyte card. So let's talk about autofocus. I played around with it quite a bit shooting nature, and it did a really good job finding focus without really hunting. Only in very limited circumstances did it do that, and that was where the subject wasn't, say, solid. But most of the time, it was incredible. It was very good, still not Sony or Canon level, but wow, it's getting closer and it's usable in many scenarios, but not all. So how does the footage actually look? Let's take a look at a montage of some videos that I've captured at various frame rates and resolutions. Now, unfortunately, I ran out of time with this camera since it's on loan, so I wasn't able to get any shots of humans. I know, that's what most of you are looking forward to, but it's all the time I have. I mean, this is literally late at night. This goes in FedEx in the morning. So what about this audio? Well, recording is the same 48 kilohertz 24-bit recording as in Komodo, but the preamps are on a completely different level. X has 3 settings on the preamps: line level, mic level, and phantom power. So now you can power condenser microphones directly from camera. Now, is it truly Balcom approved? By the way, I don't know what that came from. It's a truly made up approval, but you know, I have no authority in the audio world, but I do have a set of darn good ears. So let's see where the new mic preamps land. Now for this test, I used 7 various style condenser mics and a Shure SM7B dynamic mic because, well, not because it sounds great, I'm not a fan of it at all, but because it's incredibly weak with its signal and it requires a lot of gain. It's notorious for finding noisy preamps because you have to push it so much. And everybody owns one, and I don't know why. They're not that good. I guess they just want to look cool. Yeah. So I'll shut up and let you listen to the audio test. And well, this is best to be heard using quality headphones. And I performed 0 changes to the audio. This is 100% straight out of camera. This is a test of the Neumann U87 microphone plugged directly into Komodo X with phantom power enabled. The preamp is set to +4 decibels, and I have near perfect levels. The noise level is exceptionally low. In a world where everything is better, Komodo X makes that better with better audio. Is it Balcom approved? Yeah. Trying to just have a couple of different voices in here. Trying to have gaps in there. I've got the room as quiet as I possibly can get it. There's no air conditioning. I'm sweating. This is Texas. I'm in my audio studio with a controlled environment where the noise level is very, very low. However, there is a slight fan in the background from my solar. I did try to do this before the solar cranked up, but you know, life. And I'm not changing any audio settings in Resolve. This is a 414 microphone. It is currently set at +10 decibels on the gain. I have made no changes in DaVinci Resolve with one exception. I have copied channel 4 to channel 3 so that it is a mixed mono pair. There is no dynamics, no equalization. All of this is straight into and out of camera. In a world where everything sounds better on a 414 plugged into a Komodo X, this is the microphone comparison that really shouldn't be done on a camera, but today I'm just doing a microphone comparison so you can hear how high quality microphones sound in a pretty high quality preamp. Phantom power is on, and I am in my audio studio. But there is a little noise in the background. It won't sound like a hiss. If you're hearing a hiss, that's something else, probably. The only noise I hear in the background is the fan from my solar inverter. I mean, the sun came out. There's not much I can do about that. I tried to record this earlier, but nothing was going well. So this is the sound of a 414. This is a transformerless 47 microphone plugged directly into Komodo X. The gain is set at plus 4 decibels. This is a lesser expensive microphone, but a good quality microphone nonetheless. How does it sound? Do you like it? In a world where everything sounds about the same, damn it, why do you keep making these videos with that voice? It's annoying. And it's not even deep. It's because I've been doing it over and over again. But that is the sound of a 47 transformerless. This is a Neumann TLM 102. One of my favorite microphones for my voice. Why? Because I just sound awesome. At least I think I do. It's plugged directly into Komodo X. Phantom power. And gain is set at 4 decibels. I like it a lot. Finally, we can do ASMR on Komodo. And now, this is my least favorite microphone almost on the planet. This is the Shure SM7B. It is a horrible microphone that everybody seems to keep using over and over. The decibels, the gain is set at plus 22. It is not a phantom-powered microphone. It is a dynamic microphone, and it is an extremely low output mic. So it requires a heck of a lot of gain. But even this, I can hear the noise, but it ain't that bad. I would not want to use this on a regular RED. I'm not using a cloud lifter. In a world where everybody buys this microphone so that they can feel like they look cooler than they sound, this is the Shure SM7B plugged into Komodo X. I mean, it's not a horrible microphone. It's just a bad design, really. And it sounds okay. It's just, I mean, it's a noise machine. I don't like it. And now it's time for one of my favorite microphones, especially on a budget. It is the Octava MKO12. This is a great little tiny small diaphragm condenser microphone designed for close-up, nice vocal recordings of speech. I use it a lot on a boom pole in my interviews, and I find it has a pleasant and powerful sound for such a small little microphone. It gets out of the way, and it doesn't pick up a whole lot of room noise. The gain is set at 7 dB. In a world where this microphone does not have as much bass as I do, it's okay because, I mean, you use it for, interviews, so you don't really want to interview with bass because bass! Yeah, it actually sounds pretty good. But, it's affordable. This is a test of what I would consider one of the most budget-friendly condenser large diaphragm microphones, and that is the MXL 990. It is really cheap, like really cheap, but doesn't sound horrible. There's not a whole lot of bass in it, but there's some. It's also a very, very hot mic. This is currently set at -5 dB. Where most of the other microphones were running around +4 or +7. It's also a slightly noisier microphone, which is interesting. Not a great pair when you have a really nice preamp. In a world where everything sounds better, if you have maybe spent just a little bit of money, you get this test of audio. And I'm doing all these audio tests because someone will say, well, you didn't test this one, you didn't test this one. I'm testing it all. I'm testing it all for you because I care. So if you don't like audio, skip this part. I mean, the audio speaks for itself, or actually I spoke for it, but you know what I mean. Every reasonable microphone is going to perform excellent. For those that don't know much about audio, anything below negative 65 decibels is considered good for a noise floor. It's not perfect, but it's acceptable. And X measures as low as negative 75, which is very good. So what about power consumption and runtime with V-mounts? Well, with a 98 watt-hour battery, I achieved these runtimes. It's very impressive. So what are the pros and cons of Komodo X? Pros? Frame rates. Yeah. We can now power DSMC3 monitors, EVF, etc. Really fast media, Bulcum approved audio, and slow shutter speeds. And I honestly could go on, but let's get to the cons. First, well, it looks like most Komodo cages aren't going to fit due to some very small changes on the sides and the addition of the locking RF ring on the front. Another con, we didn't get a larger top screen. I know, there's literally no more room. It doesn't mean I didn't want it. And, oh man, listen carefully on this one. We only got down to 1/6 of a second shutter speed. That was the sound of a bunch of RED engineers throwing everything on their desks at the screen. I mean, I'm really grateful for the 1/6, but does it have a half-second shutter? Be a lot cooler if you did. So that's X. In a nutshell, it's I didn't get to test everything, but I did a ton, and I'm really impressed by it. And am I gonna buy one? Well, everyone on here who's heard me talk about my story with RED knows it begins with Dragon. It has been Dragon since 2015 until 2023 now, and they know my love for Dragon and what Dragon means to me. X, this is the first camera that I could actually see replacing my Dragon with. I love the image, the frame rates, the global shutter, practically everything, especially that Bulcum approved audio. This is a beast of a camera in a small little package, and it's seriously worthy of being known as the baby Dragon. So what do you think about Komodo X? Do you think the audio is quality? Do you like the image? Do you like the frame rates? Let me know in the comment section down below. I really want to know what you think about it. I'd like to know your honest thoughts. Remember to subscribe, and you could become a channel member as well. It allows you to be part of the Cool Kids Club, just like these top tier members right here. And as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions.